Tonight on Jabber Jawn, we discuss the age-old topic of love abroad, while on summer holiday. The immortals, from Henry James to William Seward Burroughs, have written of the mores and customs of finding a summer romance while still being able to enjoy the gambling in Monte Carlo and the horse racing in St. Augustine. If we don't happen to get around to that subject, rest assured we will have all the grain prices, local dance schedules and this year's fashion tips for your denim overalls. Cuff this year? Buttoned on the side? The strange but compelling look of a belt worn with denim overalls. Tune in and take notes. When the band starts playing at Lil Jimmy's Oyster Shack, you'll want to be there all goosed up and ready to shake what the good Lord done give ya. Hopefully tonight Stephanie and Sandra will be tuned in wearing their faded dungarees and John Deere t-shirts, so you never know what might happen. The price of hay now is no laughing matter.
The price of hay now.
Hey, yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's true. The price that you go to someone and say, "Hey, now," you never know what you're getting yourself into.
And we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Jabber Jawn. I'm Nathan Moore, your host. Good to see you. This is my father, Steve Moore.
Hey.
My buddy, Kyle Hogg. And here we are. It's episode 27.
Wow.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And if you're just watching for the first time, wherever if you're on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, good to see you. We just sit here and talk about whatever comes up. And if you chat, if you comment in the chat, I will see it right here on my phone. Everything is being funneled to our Discord server. So let us know what's on your mind. And maybe you can spark the direction the conversation goes. Who knows? What's new?
Woo. Woo. I didn't expect you to. You'll have to get back to me. I have no response.
Mm.
I'm trying for there to be that moment of newness in my life, but a lot of days I'm just real happy just to do what I did yesterday.
Right.
So I don't have a good answer.
Right.
So
waking up is enough.
Well, I'm very comfortable with just like the rainy days. I've really enjoyed being home and wandering around doing weird things in the house that I hadn't done for a while, like, cleaning up and things like that.
It has been cold and drizzling rain for days here. A little concerned about Red Wing this weekend. Is the weather supposed to change? There's a festival happening locally this weekend.
I think it's going to be muddy.
It's going to be muddy no matter what.
No matter what. But I think it's going to be showers more than what we've been getting, which is so steady, beautifully steady.
Yeah, it's really
been, you can just feel the plants eating it up, drinking it up. Just, here we go, we can do this now.
Yeah, our cucumbers have exploded out there.
Yeah, it's funny to watch, because you think things grow when the sun shines, but they grow all night.
That's true.
They just need that water. It's what they need right now. It's perfect.
I can't believe how fast things will grow.
Yeah.
I mean, you turn your head and you look back and there's a giant flower there. So like, man, if I could have sat here and watched it.
Yeah, you literally can. If you were, could meditate
patient.
that well. Yeah, just be persevere.
Yeah, persevere, right.
That's the word of the night, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Ding, ding, ding.
I wonder if you watched a flower grow for 24 hours, if your brain would actually realize the difference. You think it would?
How did you start?
Like if you didn't put any marker or anything, you just watched the flower for 24 hours, you think your brain would take in that it was a
Growing.
Difference?
Yeah, it's very difficult because what you're looking for is movement.
Right.
We're thinking about you need movement. That's what the classic. When I walk outside, a lot of times the squirrel or the bird will just sit there still. They'll try to get away with that because they know if they don't move, you're not going to notice them. So as soon as they move, then they better be moving out. And that, but back to what you're talking about, you're saying, how do you disengage? How do you detect movement as apart from just separate pictures of an event?
Right.
Because there's a time thing in there, so you have to slow it down, and that's what happens to the flower. He grows at a rate that your eyes are having trouble staying up with because it's a slower rate. But again, if you could magnify your rate or slow your rate down, you get on their same time.
If you could do a time-lapse photography of the exact same 24-hour span, you would see all this stuff happening.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
movement.
Exactly. I used to love that with the Disney. He was the first one with those nature programs that he would do the
time-lapse.
The time-lapse photography.
It's
They were the
incredible.
first. That's the first time I ever saw it. It was like, just watching a hive of bees, and over time it's amazing.
That's the reason I like to hang out with the same friends all the time. They don't notice that I'm slowly getting bigger. It just seems natural. Then somebody from 6 months ago, like, good grief!
Holy moly!
Oh, good grief!
Right.
It's all.
You should have come over every day all these last 6 weeks. You'd have never noticed any change at all.
That is true. I'm afraid to see old friends at this point. Just I don't want to see their face when they first see me. It's like, oh, sorry, I know.
I was here to see Nathan. I am Nathan. What?
You guys can't tell. I love you too.
Well, like kids, like I'd see my nieces and nephews, the summertime, then they would come back for Christmas. I was like, good grief, like how does anybody grow that much?
Well, it's not just the physical too, but mentally they develop as little people from somebody you were thinking you were smarter than to someone that's really questioning a lot of your decisions and wondering if you have any sense at all. Doesn't take them long to. But that mental thing of them developing as people is really fun to watch, but it's also disconcerting sometimes, especially when you're missing them.
Oh, the last time I saw you, you were knee-high to a grasshopper.
Exactly.
I definitely remember that growing up. And kids was one of the first things I thought of when you started talking about this, watching things grow. Or the parents are with them every day. But we see him once a month or something, and it's all like, whoa, it's amazing. Little Elliot, now he's like talking and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
I was talking to a friend, I was texting some friends a couple of days ago, and I wrote something to be funny, then I realized how true it was. They were asking me, remember a couple of weeks ago, Stan had like a little art show downtown? And me and my mom walked down there and hung out and went and got some coffee and stuff. And then they were like, you went with your mom? I said, and I said it to be funny, but I said, surprisingly, moms are just like other women. They like going out and doing stuff and having a good time. And I thought, that's so true. I never thought of my mom as like somebody like, let's go do something fun. Then I was like, gosh, moms are just like other women. They like to go out and do stuff. It's just like you see them so often as a mom, you forget that they're just like a normal person like anybody else.
It's like seeing, it's like when you're a kid and seeing one of your teachers in the store or something. You're like, what the, wait, no. This is...
That's so funny.
You're not a real person. And much less seeing them out at a bar or something. That's just too much to handle.
It's funny.
Yeah. Why did I think of Mill Street Grill?
I just think of all the people you saw that graduated, and they'd see you out and stuff.
I think I've had some interesting times where I've been with my family, but I've been drinking, but waiting for them. And sometimes you have to have a drink, and then I'd have another drink, and then So I'd be on my third drink, and then my family would come and we'd sit down. But then some former student would come over, and I'd had 4 drinks. It was just I didn't like those situations.
Right.
But they were
That
uncomfortable.
Venn diagram, those circles aren't supposed to touch. But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there were so many possibilities of crossing over that I didn't know what I was doing.
But the ex-students probably love that. To see, like, out, you're getting
Well,
right home.
that is. I'm thinking more of the older ones that would be out drinking themselves as young men or something. And then they would see me, and so like, like I did, like a lot of your friends I knew from being in high school, but then I'd see them out in their 20s and 30s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun at that point.
Yeah. I mean,
It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were surviving.
It's also funny how kids, even like the same age as me, because my dad like coached football and basketball and
Oh,
you know,
really?
everything. He coached for like
Your dad was a coach too. Huh?
not for like the high school, like little league stuff, but coached for like 20 years. So kids that I went to school with, we'd be out somewhere, like when I'd come home and visit, and they'd have no idea who I was. Mr. Hogg, you know, I'd say, who's that? He goes, went to school with them for 12 years. They didn't know who I was. I didn't know, but they still remembered, you know, the adult figure. You know, that had much more of an effect on them than, you know, me sitting beside them with my mouth open in class.
And the adult sort of stays the same.
Right.
Whereas you were going through high school,
Right.
changing every year. Even not just growing and all this stuff like we're talking about, but different fashion
Right.
ideas. I remember I went through quite a few little fashion phases in high school and stuff. So I was so malleable, so susceptible to any inspiration. And it was always usually movies.
Right.
Like after I saw Rocky, I started doing sit-ups and jump rope for weeks, you know. And after I saw Footloose, like skinny ties, Chuck Taylors, Rat Tail. Then Miami Vice ruined me. I mean, Miami Vice just destroyed a good chunk of my childhood. It's like, I mean, how can you not just wear a blazer with a t-shirt, you know, and come to school the next day just thinking everybody's going to be like, oh my God, who's this amazingly cool person?
Must have just moved in from Hollywood, California. He must have just moved in.
Must have just moved in, exactly. Where is this guy?
Did you see one of the Brat Pack just moved to Stanton? There were other kids doing it too, or just you?
Well, I'm sure everybody had their own version of that.
Right.
But then there was the musical influence, and I got into punk rock, so I would dye my hair different colors, and it was just one thing after the other.
It's a wonder nobody ever pressed charges.
Yeah, there was a lot of fashion crimes committed. There's no doubt about it.
One of the funny things that never seems to change, people I guess when they're a teenager or whenever they go out dancing, people's dances don't ever change, it seems like. Like if you go see the Findells, a lot of those people are just doing these dances they must have started in the 70s.
Oh, your dance. He has a dance.
And then you'll see like the 80s kids doing some dance in the 90s, and then, you know, but it's like people are like, I guess that's just your comfort zone, you know.
That is so funny to think that you're just sort of locked into that
Yeah,
dance.
like some of the
you learned
older people just have this, you know, this moving the hips and the arms
That's
a
sort of
little
dad's
bit.
move. Tell us the history of your move. You don't think of yourself as having one?
No.
I guess I don't really think of myself as having a move either, but I do.
I will say this about anything I know. All I know about my dancing was that all through high school I was very self-conscious when I went to dances, especially with fast dancing, and I just didn't dance. I just wasn't a dancer, and I never practiced or did anything like that until there's this cute girl holding my hand, and I'm shaking from that experience.
Right.
And then I just never had a great experience with dancing. But I liked to dance, and I liked to move my body, but I was very self-conscious, which is the last thing you should be doing when you're dancing.
That's
So I
exactly
just
right.
stopped dancing. And but I remember it was my freshman year in college, and I was in the dorm area where everybody comes down and like refreshments, and there's a jukebox and people are playing music, and I started dancing. And I saw a couple guys looking at me and pointing at me and laughing at me.
Oh, no.
And I just thought a minute. I said, well, if they think that's funny, it's all right, but I'm going to have a good time.
Right.
And I just decided right there that it didn't matter if everybody thought it. If it feels good and I'm expressing something, and I like moving that way, that's where I'm going. And I remember that one moment where I looked at those two guys that were laughing at me. And
That was probably always the fear, and then once it happened, you're like, "Oh my God, I'm still here."
to face it like that, it really didn't mean anything. All it
Right.
meant was they had a judgment.
Right.
But I already knew that.
Right.
So they
Well,
weren't
that's
tell-
it's almost like you said. People like they're not that comfortable, so they find something they're comfortable with, and then if they dance for 40 years, they're not going out of that comfort zone. You know, they just keep that movement that they had. You know, like the 90s, 2000 kids out there, arms waving around and stuff. So they're going to be like 70 years old somewhere, doing the same
Right,
crazy
right.
thing.
Yeah, stick with what got you to the party.
I was in a breakdance group in high school,
Oh my God!
junior
my
high, high school, like that whole.
You did follow all the trends.
It was so. I really did. I've had distinct dancing phases. I broke dance. Is that the past tense? Is it
Sure.
Broke dance. That's actually pretty apt because I was terrible at it. I can't believe they let me in.
Was it on cardboard and stuff, or what were you doing?
We had the cardboard. I think that's why I got in. I had the cardboard.
Hey, Don Johnson, can you break dance? I sure can.
Can I break dance? But boy, I would spend hours practicing.
Call me Grandmaster Don Johnson.
After a word from our sponsor.
But then I could dance. Then I learned how to dance like a hippie.
Man.
Full on. I've had moments in my life where I full on dance like a hippie.
Right.
What does that look like?
That's just freestyling, isn't it? Hippies just like, to me, just sort of, you just.
But a wide circle. You
Yeah.
take up. You need a lot of
Yeah,
space
let
for that.
everything move.
There's no like. I mean, you
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
a lot of space.
Take flight almost. It's like fluttering around. It's called fluttering, I think. You don't ever leave the ground when you're doing a lot of activity. You're just like,
Points. 5 points for fluttering.
And there was definitely a while there where I would, in my 20s in Santa Fe, would go to the nightclubs, the rave kind of situations, and let loose. I'm not sure if that was a style of dance, somewhere between hippie and breakdancing.
Right.
I don't know exactly what that was. But boy, I would. I mean, it's been a long time since I've done that. But I would completely let myself go.
really, I love to dance. But I probably have the same moves I've had forever.
What are your moves?
Spastic, like I'm half having a seizure.
With Joe
half-
Cocker. You know. I used to do Joe Cocker in my college band when I sang.
God.
I would completely convulse when I would sing. Just doing
Now, have
the
you ever
Joe
taken like
Cocker.
real dance lessons, like Arthur Murray or anything?
No.
Yeah,
No.
my ex-wife signed us up for those, and I was like, oh my god. Or even like the electric slide and
dancing.
stuff. I could never remember the exact moves. People can get up to do the electric slide and all these things. The whole
Is that
room.
like pop locking?
Well,
and-
no, the whole room just moves together. They're doing this dance, and I'm like, how does everybody know the exact same steps?
Mhm.
It's like they've memorized like a cheerleader thing or something. I'm like,
Macarena.
yeah. They're like, come on out. I'm like, man, I can't remember all those steps.
You guys, your generation really had fun with the new dance craze kind of thing. We had that a little bit, like with the Macarena.
Right.
Break dancing was definitely a dance craze, but you guys would be like
The
a new
robot.
one each week. The robot.
Well,
The mashed potato. What's the mashed potato? I've been wanting to know this my whole life.
The bus stop, the mashed potato.
it's just done with the lower part of the body.
It wasn't just done.
You just shimmy. It's more of a shimmy that's the mashed potato part of it. But then you go back up.
So nowadays, if we wanted to, like, say we all wanted to learn to dance, we could get on YouTube and follow it. How would you learn the mashed potato back then?
We watched American Bandstand.
Oh, so
American Bandstand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was right from Philadelphia.
I love the whole phenomenon of dance crazes attached to a song. Like the Macarena was like a dance that you did when that song came on. And how that stuff just sweeps the world is just so fascinating.
Yeah.
We're due for another one. What was the last one? It was...
God, they have so many now that I can't.
What was it? It's like Japanese or something.
Oh, Gundam Style, whatever that guy. Yeah, Gundam Style, whatever it was.
Percy, it's like what someone said.
You know that song?
Are we doing this?
You a fan of his?
I don't know.
Gundam Style.
Was it Gangnam Style?
I don't know what it was. It was something like that.
I feel like that was. I can't even picture it. I can't even hear.
What was
the
that
song.
guy's name?
We might need some help in the chat.
What's the song? Oh God, what's the song?
Bean says the Wednesday dance might be the latest dance craze. I've never heard of this.
I mean, I can't keep up anymore.
Yeah.
What's the Wednesday dance? How about the Y? Did you ever do the
Please tell us
YMCA?
the YMCA. YMCA. That was a good one. We all did that one.
They still keep that going at the sports events.
Yeah. You have the twist. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody could do that.
Yeah, that was
Twist was a good
one. One of the first things that got everybody going because it was so easy. And
Right.
Did you ever pogo?
Pogo? What's that?
Like
Just
the
hop
punk
up
rockers
and down?
just pogo dance and jump up and down.
Oh, yeah. Have you ever? I'm sure you have, but what's it called when you all
Getting in the
beat
pit.
each other up?
We were just talking about that last week.
What's it called?
Getting in the pit.
It's the pit, but there's another name for
Slam
it.
dancing?
Slam dance.
Yeah.
Oh, slam dance. There's punk rock shows where you just throw your like there's sort of a center focal point, and everybody just sort of
But
slam.
it's you're supposed to get going like a cyclone in a circle, and you just.
And then you smash into each other. Very physical. People get hurt every time it happens. It's part
it
of
sounds
it.
like that would happen. Yeah.
But if you're
Slam
but if you're
dancing.
with people that know what's going on, they'll help you up. It's when you get like,
That's the truth.
You
Right?
have-
Like there's great versions of
Yeah.
it where you feel very safe, but it's a lot of physical
Right,
contact, but it's not angry.
Right.
It's jubilant.
Right.
With a definite punk edge, but
right.
there are versions of slam dancing that are awesome. It's like holy and just smashing into
It's
each
all
other.
about adrenaline, baby.
Yeah, it really is.
I want to know what this Wednesday dance is.
Yeah, I'm
now.
definitely intrigued about this. What
Who said that?
Beans? The Wednesday dance might be the latest craze. The swim, Billy Shoemaker with the
Oh
swim.
man. Oh yeah, everybody knows the swim.
When you go down and back up. The swim. Jitterbug. What's the Oh, that's like. Oh, now we're talking like jazz swing dancing. That's some. Boy, once you get into real dancing.
Oh yeah.
Whew.
There's old jazz dancers where they're going from side to side and flipping each other and stuff, and that's crazy.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Then you got all the like the Latin dances, the salsas, and waltz. I know that's a music style. It's also a dance, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we took dance lessons.
Oh, Wednesday is the character from the show. And okay, she just shared there was just a great scene in that show Wednesday where she dances. So now there's probably a lot of people out there imitating her. You might not have seen it. It's on Netflix. It's not a bad show, based on the Addams Family.
What's it called?
Wednesday
Addams.
Gotcha. I'm with you. We watched that. We love that show. What's WAP? Is that a dance?
Oh, the WAP, yeah. Some kids try to show me how to do that. It's also bad like if you have a party and people bring their friends and the kids want to show you a dance and you've had a couple of drinks and you're thinking you look good and the kids are just slapping their knees and can't stop laughing. You're getting it. There's a lot of videos of me trying to do. Well, that's the one. Miley Cyrus got dressed in like a bunny suit or some kind of bear suit or something. Was doing that dance. And so one time we had an Easter party. I lived in New Jersey, and this little kid came up, one of our friend's kids. So me and my ex-wife went out and rented an Easter bunny costume. And I said, I'm like, we're not going to tell anybody. We're just going to take you outside. You're going to come in this Easter bunny suit, and nobody's going to know who it is. So he comes in, and all my friends are like, man, there's like a big rabbit out in your front room. But then for some reason, he put that song on and starts doing the WAP to it.
So what's the WAP again?
It's just like, oh my God.
Can you do it to any music, or is there a song?
Well, there's a song that goes with it. Wow.
TikTok is the latest
Oh,
incarnation of dance crazes.
Right.
That was definitely a whole thing, because one person would do a TikTok dance, and then everybody would try to emulate and replicate that dance. And then you try to get your grandmom to do it and teach it to her. One thing that's really fun about TikTok is, I was on there for like a year before Lex really explained to me how it works. And the cool thing about TikTok is it'll play the song and record you dancing, but you can have it to where it plays it in halftime, or even slower than that.
Wow.
So you learn the moves, and you can just sort of like nail them. And then when it plays back at real time, and you just look like you're crushing it.
Oh my God!
I didn't even realize that was the thing. But that's what's going on with all those TikToks. They're doing it. It's slow when they do it. That's why all these grandmoms and stuff are crushing it. Once you learn the moves, and it just looks funny and cool no matter how bad you do. Once you speed it up to real time, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, you could even. Anybody could make a great TikTok once you learn that trick.
How about twerking? Were you ever about twerking?
That's the latest dance craze.
Me and my ex-wife bought my dad this cup that says "Coffee makes me twerk," and he had no idea what it meant. It was like a Christmas present. Like, I don't think. And every time my nieces and nephews would come, they're like, "God, don't let him walk around carrying that cup."
Coffee makes me twerk. Do you know what twerking is?
No.
It's like you just bend over and shake your butt. It's real.
Yeah, you basically bend over, hold on to something, go like that, and your butt. If you have a butt, it goes up and down like that.
That's called twerking.
My dad used to do it when he drank coffee.
Apparently. Twerking.
And I'd be saying behind him going, wop, 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 wop.
Yeah, who invents these words like that?
That's a good question. Miley Cyrus, I think.
Did she really?
I don't know.
I've always admired her.
I'm a fan.
I didn't at one time. I had proper respect for her, but now I do.
She's really grown as an artist.
She's grown on me, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, we all go through periods where we might not agree with someone, the way someone's doing something. But
Right.
I stayed with her.
Yeah.
Now, when they had like the high school dances, did you ever chaperone any of those?
Sure.
Like, did you separate people, or you let people do what they wanted to do?
One foot between you.
I don't remember many incidents.
Right.
Everything, it was the good kids that were coming to the.
Right.
The others were the parking lot was a different story. That's where the drinking was going on. So they go out there, or they disappear into the golf course.
Right.
And then they wander in, but when they see the football coach, they usually straighten up a little bit.
Gosh.
I never really had any incidents in that context. I had some in the hallways, just with.
It used to be way more of a. The school dances used to be a venue for new bands and new kinds of music.
Yeah.
I was watching a documentary the other night on house music, the origins of house music, and the role of school dances played as a place to play your music, just as a venue. And you hear all these stories of like some famous bands when they played at the school dance or something like that. I don't imagine that's the case anymore these days, but maybe somewhere.
My brother was in the SPCA or whatever. Not the SPCA. What's it called when you're in the school?
Definitely not the SPCA.
What is it called?
PTA.
That's the parent teachers.
No, it was like with the people the little government people, the
student council.
What was it called? The SCA.
Hey, Mom. Good to see you. Hello.
Well, whatever it is. So he'd have to go pick the prom bands, and they said they would go to Richmond and be high schools from all over would be in Richmond, like watching, like you said, bands perform, new bands, and that I guess they'd make a pretty good amount of money. They go play for 4 hours at a prom or something. Mm-hmm. What was that called? Not SPCA. Student Body Council.
ASB. Beans is wondering in the chat. That doesn't ring a bell. We're stuck.
Doesn't really matter.
Wait, what was the point though?
That like you were saying how bands would play. Mm-hmm. He said they would go and it'd be like 40 bands there, just hoping to get a gig at some high school prom.
Oh, right.
They would go like to a hotel, like a ballroom, and the
like
bands would have like 10 minutes, to play.
Right.
And all the high school, the governing body would go pick who they wanted.
Right. Yeah, that rings a bell. I'm with you now. We're talking about dances, Mom. We're sort of maybe about to go into another topic, but that's what we've been talking about. The different dances that we've either done ourselves or seen or heard about.
She said the pony.
The pony?
Yeah.
Earlier.
What's the pony?
That's what your mom typed in.
Isn't the pony like this? Isn't that the pony?
I think so.
That's milking the cow.
Doing the pony, the bony Maroney.
The pony's not like this.
Nah.
No.
I think it's like you just. How about the Smurf, the Popeye, and the Jerry Lewis?
The Smurf, the Popeye, and the Jerry Lewis. What are those?
That's a Beastie Boys lyric.
Oh.
They're up there doing the Smurf, the Popeye, and the Jerry Lewis. Remember Pee-wee had a dance? Remember the Pee-wee dance?
Sort of.
To Tequila. That song, Tequila.
Tequila, right.
Did you ever see Pee-wee Herman's Big Adventure?
I think I did.
Yeah, that was a good one.
The dab dance, Stephanie says. The dab dance.
Oh, that's the football. That's what all the people do when they score a touchdown. Isn't that the dab?
Oh.
Very educational here. I'm learning a lot about dances.
I feel like we should be demonstrating each of them.
Tomorrow night we're going to have to find a club downtown and show all of our moves.
I bet I still got a little. Hey, I passed it to you, dude.
Everybody watch out. Nathan's got some cardboard we need to spread down. He's going back really old school.
We're trying to spin on my head.
Oh, my God.
My favorite thing we did in the breakdance team was the worm. And I could probably still do it here right now, but I would hurt myself. But it was fun because we'd all do it, where you lay on your bellies on the ground, and my feet would go onto your shoulders.
Oh my God.
And then your feet would go on the next person's shoulders, and it's like that. That's you're just with your feet, but then it goes all the way down. So when my feet kick up, your shoulders come up, and you doing it.
That's called the human centipede, isn't it?
Something like that. Oh wait, that's a terrible horror movie.
I was thinking, how can I explain to him what I'm talking about? How that would tell him what it is.
The gator. What's the gator? Just like this?
No, you're on your belly. You have to be drunk to do it.
The gator?
Yeah, that's an old college bard doing the gator because you're trying to get your partner to get down on the floor with you and do the gator.
Oh,
What's
wow.
the gator? What do you do?
Well,
when
you
you're
get
down
down, and then you do your arms like an alligator.
Like
But
that?
you're laying down. You're laying down in a sea of beer.
Oh my God.
I only did it once.
No. What's the dance for that song? Shout, you make me want. You gotta get down lower and lower. Is that a
bit
dance?
lower now.
Yeah.
A little bit lower now. I don't think that's actually. But that's
But
a great
you
moment.
you see like people do it every time that song
That is
plays.
so fun. That is fun to do.
And then if you were with a guy that had a stick with him, then you end up learning to do the limbo.
Oh, the
The
limbo.
right comes right out of there.
Jack be nimble,
Once you
Jack
get
be quick.
down low, while you're down there, crawl under that stick.
We could do the limbo. That would translate really good on the show. I remember limbo at Skate Town.
Man, if you have a guy that has a stick.
You ever do that?
DJ, can I get your attention? Ask if everybody here has a stick. We're gonna slow it down for a second while I talk to the crowd. Anybody here got a stick? We're gonna limbo.
I've definitely.
Elmer, get it from your room. Darn.
Limbo. I always think of like you're on vacation, like in Hawaii or Florida, or like there's some kind of
Is that the
festival.
only time you
Well,
do
that
limbo?
Beach
Yeah,
vacation.
yeah.
You only limbo on vacation?
Well, all the movies you see, they're always doing the limbo at the.
Right, so you're
They did
doing
it every Saturday or whatever at Skate Town, USA. Limbo was part of the daily events. There was a certain.
That was a fun place to go.
Did you used to go to Skate Town?
We go on the nights, like if you wore a tie, you
Was
got
that
it for
there when
half
you were growing
price.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
I didn't go there.
You didn't do it.
No. I had friends that were into it. My old racquetball buddy, Gary Bosman. Ooh, he was like a state champion. He was a speed skater.
Oh wow.
Now,
Mom was really good at skating. She could do go backwards and
Really?
everything.
I didn't know that.
man,
I didn't like skating in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like it anyway. You had to fall down to learn how to do it, and I didn't like falling down. And I didn't have any perseverance. So,
I feel like I tended to go to Skate Town alone. That was like Mom would drop me off and then come get me later. I
Well,
wouldn't
they-
necessarily
they'd-
go with
they'd
friends.
have,
I would know maybe a couple people there, but it was really like a young.
yeah, it was like a little club on Saturday mornings.
Mm-hmm.
It was like wide open bowling or skating, and
but it was like a club for kids because you hear all the latest music. They'd have a guy playing the music.
The latest,
Yeah, your favorite songs would be.
I mean, that
on.
was like the first time in there would be couples only
right.
moments
Right.
where they would put on a romantic song and be like and there was a big board up on the wall that was like what's going on right now, and it'd be like ladies choice or something, or
God.
couples only, and everybody had to get off of there, and it was just couples, and that was like the first time in my life, like the idea of like approaching a girl and like where you skate with. It wasn't the dances, it was Skate Town. It was like a young training ground of courting and the pressure of it. I remember just like going and circles trying to build up the courage to ask a girl to skate with me or whatever, and then right when I was about to make the move, the song would end, and that I just remember that repeatedly happening.
Now, was this when you were abroad, romancing on the skating rink? Is that what it was?
Love abroad.
I know. I mean, I used to, and I would never. I mean, I'm still scared to talk to anybody, but I would see guys out there. I was like, man, these are some lucky SOBs out there. And then there's like 10 girls sitting around me, and I'm just too scared to even look at them. You know, like they're like, I wish any loser would just ask me to go out there. If any one of these losers would just look at me, I'd go with it. No, I was like, oh god. For some reason, my skates just came off. I don't know why.
I think it's the wheel's wrong. There's something wrong with the wheel there.
I feel like I need some cheese fries. I'll be right back.
Oh, good food, video games.
I know they had everything out there. Yeah, that was a good time skate. Now it's like a gun world or something, isn't it?
Yeah. No, not quite what it used to be. I wonder if you could bring if they opened up another one of those, if anybody would go. You know, kids they might love it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be a whole thing.
But it was also like you said, my parents would take us out there like on whatever and give us each $5 and drop us off. They figured it was out really in the middle of nowhere out there. Like you weren't going to get in any trouble. Like, you know, we were too young to have, you know, friends didn't drive or anything. What are we going to do? Walk, you know? So it's sort of like your parents could go do whatever they wanted to do for 3 hours.
Mom would just drop me off, come get me hours later.
Yeah.
There's no trouble to get in. You weren't going to go anywhere from there. It was pretty safe play.
And there was no phone, so like even if you were miserable, they still weren't going to pick you up for 4 hours.
Is this the one in Verona?
No, this was out by the mall.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know.
Like off that
Skate Town,
side
USA.
road, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And limbo is a big, there would be the limbo moment. And limbo is really fun on skates because it wasn't necessarily about leaning backwards. You didn't have to, because when you're doing it at a dance or whatever, it's all about going backwards. You can't bend forwards. Whereas at Skate Town, it was just about getting under it because you're
your
moving
legs went
on
out
skates.
more?
You could, like,
Okay.
whatever it took to get low enough and stay on your skates as you go through it. I want to do these things now. I sort of want to do a limbo contest or something. It's all right.
You just got to find a friend with a stick.
You do have insurance.
I mean, it wouldn't get very low before I'd be out. It's just like, okay, the first pass. I don't know. I can't.
Send out a post tonight. Do any of my friends have a stick? I want to have a limbo party. But I mean, some of the funniest when you get people drinking and you see people trying to limbo, I mean, that's one of the funniest things you'll ever see. I remember just being at people's houses in the kitchen, like somebody put like a broom across, some chairs. I mean, just hilarity seeing these people falling.
It's always a good move. So, all right, trivia. Who sang the song, the limbo song?
Well,
Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. Jack go on the limbo stick.
oh, God.
Every limbo boy and girl all around the limbo world.
Oh, it's like a sort of like a reggae song, or
Ish.
yeah.
Way back in the day, it was.
I think you had the 45.
Oh, I definitely have it. Limbo.
Like a Tropicalia type song. Yeah.
Trying to think, but
Oh God, I've heard. Now when you started singing it, I can't think of
Limbo Rock, it wasn't. No.
Johnny Denton.
God, don't tell me yet.
Okay.
I can see that orange, yellow label. Capital label.
Well, I guess I'll get a copyright strike if I play it.
Don't do it. But all right, who did it?
Chubby Checker.
Yeah.
Chubby Checker did it?
Chubby Checker.
What?
I didn't think he did the original. I
Yeah,
thought he
that's
did a second version.
Oh, you might be
or
right.
another version.
He did the limbo twist.
That sounded like the one I recognize.
Yeah, the limbo twist was Chubby Checker.
1963, Chubby Checker, Limbo Rock. Now, what came first then? What was he singing about?
Well,
Did
I think the limbo was a game they played in wherever. It's like I'm thinking of an island country in the Caribbean.
do you think they had a song that was similar? Like he didn't write that song. It was just his version of the song they sang when they limboed.
I don't know. I have no understanding of that.
Now, after Chubby Checker did it, did Pat Boone do a real pasteurized version of it?
I'm sure.
Limbo rock.
It does seem like it's Chubby Checker. 1962, Chubby Checker.
Man.
The Champs, Limbo Rock. But no.
I used to work with a guy that toured with Chubby Checker when Chubby was doing like state fairs and stuff. He was like the only he was.
You what?
I worked with a guy that played guitar with Chubby Checker.
Really?
He said they would go into towns and it was like sort of like Chuck Berry. They would, just whatever band you had there, he'd play with the local band. But Chubby Checker liked the guy that I worked with as a guitar player, so they would just show up and get a bass player and a drummer, and everybody knew those songs anyway. So they'd get up at some state fair stage, but he said Chubby Checker was a really nice guy.
Cool.
He was also the Twist.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's what he's famous for.
But if you look at I have all these old albums, the Peppermint Twist. There's all kinds of different twists, that I guess they just, put your own little spin on it.
Yeah, but he had the first one.
Yeah.
Then everybody threw it in.
Oh, here we go. Beans has asked Percy here on Discord the origin of the limbo dance. The limbo dance originated in Trinidad, an island in the Caribbean, as a part of Afro-Caribbean culture. It is believed to have emerged during the 19th century when enslaved Africans were brought to the island. The dance was a traditional ritual performed at wakes and funerals to symbolize the struggle of a soul's journey to the afterlife.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting? It started at funerals.
And now they were doing it at Skate World.
Over time, the dance evolved, eventually becoming a popular form of entertainment and social activity, especially during carnival celebrations in Trinidad and Tobago. The limbo dance gained international fame in the 50s and 60s and has since become a popular party activity worldwide.
Limbo has become popular. All social engagement that involve alcohol will support the limbo.
Now, how about the chicken dance at weddings? We left that one out.
Chicken dance?
Don't they do that at weddings still?
What's the chicken dance?
Yeah, you do some just clucky.
She knows it. Y'all got to see our producer right now. Holy moly.
People do it at weddings. Yeah, you do a cluck cluck, then you flap your wings. Is there a certain song that goes with it? I can't remember. No.
I learned it in Germany.
I think it's just somebody will just yell chicken dance. It's usually when there's kids around, because kids like doing it. And my nieces and nephew, you'd be dancing and you'd say chicken dance, and they all would just do it to the beat.
Have you heard of this?
No.
Yeah,
But,
me neither.
I don't follow the dances.
Right.
Well, chicken dance, you would never go to a club and try to be cool doing the chicken dance.
Try it at the club.
It sounds.
Everybody, chicken dance. Who's this guy?
It sounds like I thought I saw it the other night when I went to the food line, but ended up the guy was having a seizure.
Right.
That's how that turned out.
You still feel bad about it.
Well, yeah, I started doing it back there.
Right.
And then
That's
the
just not
person
cool.
came
They
down the
should've
aisle,
called 911.
and then the 911 guy didn't really appreciate.
He's over
He
there.
thought I was making fun of him. The guy laying on the ground, and they thought I was up there doing a chicken dance to make fun of him. So they didn't like me. They kind of shoved me.
He's over there having a seizure, and your dad comes by, lean back real low, going underneath the car.
We're doing the gator.
The ambulance comes, your dad's getting a slam dance into him. Oh.
If you roll me over, I'll do the gator while I'm down here.
Make some cardboard out from the back. We got somebody out here break dance.
Oh, I'm about to see the chicken dance.
Well, that's like German music they're playing. Or maybe it's like a German festival or something. If you sort of squat down.
He's having trouble focusing on it.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
That's a classic, yeah. You usually don't wear that suit, I don't think.
I'll be right back. We're doing the chicken dance. I'll be right back.
You can do it in the clothes you have on. It's, oh my gosh.
Either of you ever have back to where the conversation started, either of you ever have like a really cool jacket? Like a leather jacket or just something that...
I still have that black one that I wear that I don't know where it came from.
Right.
How about your Lehigh jacket? You got to mention your Lehigh jacket.
Yeah, that's a classic in its own right. But I do have a cool, my cool black, like it was a suede, or well, not suede, but leather, black leather.
Yeah, black leather.
But it appeared after a party one night at the house, and nobody ever came back to claim it.
Wow.
Of course, 4 of them died that night. So, yeah, I didn't really pursue which one of them it probably was.
This wallet probably belongs to someone. Toss it in the river.
So that's that.
But that's a good. You put it on, it's a mood, right? It's a power piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I remember we were walking down Boulevard in Richmond one time. We were drunk as could be, and there was like an old wet sweater laying on the ground. I picked it up and took it home and washed it, and I'd wear it. My wife was like, God, don't ever wear that sweater you found on the street. And while we'd go somewhere, I'd like to have dinner with friends. She's like, no, you can't wear that street sweater.
The street sweater.
The street sweater.
It'd be funny to run into the person as like someone's looking at you from across the room, like, why do they keep staring at me?
My God. Did I ever tell you the McDonald's shoe story?
I don't know.
When I first moved to Richmond, the first job I got was working at McDonald's, and I just had tennis shoes. They use like you have to mop the floor, clean
How
the
old
floor.
were you now?
I was 19, and so they use this like real industrial strength cleaner on the floor. And I just had tennis shoes, and it would eat the bottom of my shoes off, so that the rubber would come off. And I was like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, I didn't have any. I just had probably one pair of tennis shoes. So they were like, we have an old pair of shoes here you can wear. So they gave me these brown shoes that fit. And so I was working one day, and one of the people I work with says, go in the back. And I was like, what? He said, go in the back. And I went in the back, and I stood back there, and I came back. She goes, the guy whose shoes you're wearing is here looking for me. He had quit a couple months earlier and wanted his shoes back. So they didn't want me just standing there wearing them. So I had to go stand in the back while they told him a lie that they had thrown them away or something.
That's great.
I used to have an old pair of shoes. I think they're called like brogans or something. That's what my dad used to call them. I can't remember what the word even was. Like old, sort of like dress shoes, but like they were sort of casual, but dress shoes. And I wore them for like so many years. They were so beat up. And I was walking home. I lived in Richmond. I was walking home. This homeless guy said, you look like Thomas Jefferson wearing those shoes. I was like, maybe it's time to get rid of them. I don't know if a homeless man thinks I look like Thomas Jefferson.
Well, that's a compliment, wasn't it?
And then I said, watch this, and I limboed down past you. That's a compliment. That's one of the funniest thing. She looked like Thomas Jefferson.
How about a power piece of clothing?
What do you mean by that?
Just like an article of clothing that when you put it on, it transforms your spirit in some way, and you wear it to take on the town, or like
I had
a leather jacket.
In high school, I had what was the little thing that you had on there? Everybody had on their your polo shirts. It was like the crocodile. What was that?
Izod.
Yeah, I had an Izod shirt. Then I got my mom to sew an arrow going through it. That was like my punk rock statement. And whenever I wore that, I was like, "Oh, everyone's gonna notice this."
So you went to your mom and you're like, "Will you sew an arrow going through this?"
Because they would. I mean, I wanted to get like disco
that was
socks.
Izods were with
like
the
everybody
preps and grits of grade school or
Yeah.
whatever. The division, the two sides, or
Right.
the preps wore the Izods.
Yeah, so I used to wear. Whenever I was going out somewhere, I thought I needed to look cool. I'd wear that.
Do you have a power piece of clothing now?
Gosh, I'm trying to think. I'm sure I got T-shirts that I know that look halfway decent on me that I will wear, but I can't really think of what they are right now.
Right. I have a couple of T-shirts that are like that.
Like if you have to decide in like 10 seconds, let's go. You just grab that T-shirt. It's gonna look,
Mm-hmm.
But nothing really that's gonna make me stand out and look like anybody wants to ever talk to me or anything.
Who is that? Chad Galactic gave me this Western shirt that has amazing embroidery. It's like pistols on either side with a bullet flying out, splitting a playing card.
Oh, wow.
And this great skull in the back, and I got it up in my closet right now. If I put that thing on, this is happening.
Wow.
We're off. You don't just put that on for no good reason.
Wow.
So when was the last time you wore it?
That's a good question. It's probably to someone's party or something.
To the doctor's when he went a couple of weeks ago. You want to
doctor's appointment.
You want to fuck with me? Look at the
He's
shirt
like,
I got.
"Oh, you're
on."
fine. You're fine.
This buddy.
I don't want any problems."
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You need any medications? You just tell me what you need.
I do love. I admired like I really wish I could be that person, because I look at all my heroes, especially in music. They are always making a fashion statement.
Oh, yeah.
They are always even Bob Dylan, like, always looks sharp. Leonard Cohen, I don't care who it is, whether you're Mick Jagger or some folk singer or something, you're still, their sense of fashion was always very astute, and I really love it. I see friends of mine that do it, and I feel like, if you walk down the street and you're dressed in a really fabulous way, that's such a gift to the world. It's such permission to feel free, and I just feel like it's, and I just, even just the way, a lot of people, just as a matter of ethics, or maybe it's not ethics. What's your discipline? The word, like,
Perseverance.
But they always wore suits, you would always wear a suit. And, a lot of musicians are like that. You don't see somebody in shorts. Like, you don't wear shorts on stage. Like, it's a matter of not ethics, not perseverance, but in the long run, it's perseverance. I'm thinking ethic because of work ethic. So maybe that's right. But it's just a part of their...
Right.
It's a part of what they're trying to do is to create a role,
Their image,
and they're trying to play that role with the way they dress.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people do that. And that's a game that is being played. And you can play that game or you could not play it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you're saying that your way of doing it doesn't involve that. And I could argue, not necessarily will, but I could argue that you're making a statement just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yours is just a statement of it's not always like that.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you're rejecting the whole system in a way, which makes you a rebel. But no one's too
But
shocked.
not a cool leather jacket clad rebel.
No, a very comfortable rebel.
Right. Cozy.
Exactly, because I think, this rebelling thing, it takes all kinds of people that believe a certain for it to change. And God love the rebel rousers and the protesters and the people that give up all their time to change the world. That's your calling, and go for it. I don't have any, but you choose to do it another different way, just by being yourself.
Right.
But that's like comparing cats and dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and so you're just kind of like a cat.
I remember one of the few times where I'd laughed so hard I couldn't even stand up. I went to I think it was Sally Rose, or somebody was playing at one of the breweries, and I was going to meet my friend Stephanie there. So I was just sitting there, had a couple of drinks, and then Stephanie shows up, and we leave. We're going to go to another bar, and out of the blue, I don't think Stephanie was saying this to insult me, but she said, "You look like the lead singer from the Blues Travelers." And I laughed so hard I fell down in the street and rolled under one of those outside tables. I could not stop laughing. I was like, "Did you just call me like the fat?" I didn't have a beard, and I was as big as I am now, but I wasn't like huge. And she was like, "No, I don't mean that as an insult." And I just could not stop
Were you
laughing.
wearing ammunition belts or anything?
That could be compared to the lead singer for the Blues Travelers was one of the, man, I guess I've got an image now. like you were talking about, like the guys, like when you would see like Graham Parsons in one of those nudie suits or whatever, like the whole suit looked really cool. Then you'd see him like just with, some picture he'd had like jeans on, that shirt you're talking about, but he just carried it off. It looked so good on
He
him.
always looked good. The whole Texas fashion. I lived in Texas for a while. That stuff is all amazing.
Right.
Amazing boots,
Yeah.
the embroidered shirts, the cowboy, the hat,
Yeah.
just power pieces every day. I do admire that. I do like it. And I think for a lot of people, like the suits thing, it's not even necessarily a persona. I guess it's a little bit of a persona, but it's you want the world to take you seriously, and you feel like dressing for success.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's true in certain areas. It's always going to be true. And I think it works for certain people. If you want to affect those people, you can do that, and that's a choice everybody makes all the time.
Now, did you have like a favorite type of outfit to wear when you were performing? Like, were you more comfort or more style?
I had a look for a while in my late 20s, and a vest with no shirt on.
Wow.
was my thing.
Man.
Just the vest. I had some great vests too. I had a closet of vests, whatever. One of my favorites was these like cars cut out of fabric, just like circles for the wheels, like sort of blocky, whatever. But it was pastels in these cars. But that was...
No, did you like to go to thrift stores and find them, or where did you get them
a
from?
lot of thrift stores.
Right.
Yeah. That was my look.
Do you still have a lot of those vests?
I think there's a few up there.
What happened to them?
I outgrew them. Gave them to my skinnier friends. I think Daniel has a couple. I think Brad has a few. I handed them down because they were gold.
Oh, that's great.
Man. So, like, if you were going to Coachella, what would you wear?
I think I would sadly be comfort these days.
Now, if you're
I do like I love the people at festivals that dress up. That's one thing I think of when I think about that gift to the world and how you inspire the world. The way people dress up for festivals and stuff is so fun. And I mean, everything from like a butt full on bunny outfit, like that kind of the bear head. I mean, remember that at High Sierra, the person that was dressed up as a giant astronaut? Do you remember?
So.
I think there's a picture of you standing beside him.
Yeah, he would.
It had like a built-in blower that would inflate it.
Oh my god!
So they have these costumes now. You could be like a dinosaur or something. It has a little motor that you clip to your belt that's blowing air into it. So it was like 15 feet tall.
Oh my gosh!
But I really for all of you that dress up in all kinds of flamboyant ways and before you go out into the world, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You really brighten it up. You kick things up a notch, and you give us all permission to I don't know, to do that ourselves in some little way or big way. I just think it's such a cool thing. I remember thinking about that when I had some musician friends visit, and I had sort of been out of the scene for a little while and was just in my regular old shorts and t-shirt or whatever. But they all had cool stuff, like cool badass necklaces and stuff, and I was just like, man, it's so cool. I always sort of felt like that though. Like I never felt cool.
Oh yeah, that's hard. Being cool is a hard thing to pull off.
I mean,
Well, there's so many levels of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you sacrifice one level of coolness for that thing, like, you know, the fact that you're not cool in that context makes you cooler in other areas.
Right.
So, you know, you got to pick and choose.
You got to pick and choose
what you're going to end up being good at and lucky at. And
it's funny, at a thrift store like 3 or 4 years ago, I found this coffee cup that said "Nerds Rule," and I got it from my brother-in-law. I mean, I've never considered myself a nerd, but I thought he would think it was funny. Then I thought, man, that's not a nice thing to give to him. So but I have like a closet with just Christmas. I buy gifts all the time. Just, you know, so I said, who am I gonna give this Nerds Rule thing to? Never thought it would apply to me. So I just said, well, I should just take it to work, you know, so I can use that. I took it to work like the second day. This woman walked by, I love it. That's perfect for you. And I was like, what? Oh my God! I did buy it for myself 4 years ago.
I'm going to argue with you a little bit. I'm going to tell you that you know exactly what you're doing when you sit out there on your front porch reading a book and all those women are coming by and bringing you books. I've heard about you. There's just all these librarians are driving up and down the block.
That lady,
she's so busy
she's
down
surprised
through
when
there.
she brought those books back.
What's that?
That woman, when she brought that bag of books back, she really, I thought I'd never see her. Then I see her hustling down the street carrying a bag of books. I was like, what? I thought she was drunk and just like talking to me because, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, you just, but so you know exactly what you're emanating.
Oh my God. Nothing.
He's just reading the same sentence over and over and over again.
I just got my eyes closed with a book open. Books upside down. I'd heard her. I wasn't paying attention. Hey. I see you reading all the time. You want some more books? And I was like, yeah, not so. Go ahead. And I thought I'd never see her again. And she comes with a big old bag of books.
Were there some good ones in there?
You know, I hope she's not watching tonight. If you're watching tonight, Chris, I think you're a wonderful person. But I see her walking on. I thought she was a homeless person. So when she brought me the bag of books, I was like, oh, what's going to be in this bag? So I sort of just said it. I haven't really looked.
Oh, you haven't?
Oh, come on.
You're not curious about her taste in books?
Oh, my God. She sort of scared me. But Chris, I do. You are one of my favorite. I guess you're a neighbor. I don't know where you live.
Well, she knows where you live.
I
So
know.
That's all that
so it
matters.
seems to me like you're a little worried about that.
She's the first person I've ever given my name to, because she was so nice, and she's like, I said, oh, thank you. My name's Kyle. She's got that, I'm Chris. You know, she's got like the weird, well, I'm Chris. You know, I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. And then I was telling somebody, I said, so as soon as she did it, I was like, well, I got to make a bag of books for her now. And they're like, you don't want to get involved in that shit. Don't give her anything back. You don't want to start like a full one, you know. She wants to come and read on the porch with you now, you know, like, okay, come on up here. Because I see them going to the store and they come back, they got the black
I can't believe
things.
you haven't looked at the books, though. It's such an insight into...
I know. Well, I'm reading.
What if it's all like
I'm reading a really good book.
Dostoevsky?
I'm reading. I got a book. Oh my God, you would both love this book. You're both teachers, right? Have you read The Whisper, The Silent Whisper? Have you heard of it? Oh my God, it's the 1920s maybe, out in the middle of nowhere in America, and this woman comes in to be the housekeeper for this family. The wife has passed away, and her brother becomes a school teacher. And it is the most, oh my God, it makes you fall in love with all school teachers. I'll give it to one of you. I just finished it.
It's a new book?
I don't know if it's that, but my aunt recommended it to me. And my aunt's not someone I used to take book recommendations from. She's like, you would love this book. And I was like, oh, yeah, I bet I would, you know. But to be nice, I went and bought it because she told me about it. And then it's been sitting there for like 2 years. I finally started reading it, and I was like, oh my God, it's like written so well, and it's a beautiful story.
What's it called again?
I think The Silent Whisper, or something to whisper.
Who is it?
Oh, the writer, I can't remember anything now. I can't remember.
Don't worry about it.
But I'll give it to you. It's oh my
Yeah.
God, it's so wonderful. But it's one of those books written and so well. And that was one of the hard books to read on the porch because I'm reading it crying. I got to turn away from the street. Like, then I get myself together and I turn back. Okay, let me just keep reading a little bit more. It's just so sweet. But the guy, it's like he's like a Faulkner or something, just beautifully written. It's just, you know, amazing the way he just describes the plains and everything so well. My mom was told, when we went down to the art show, there's a new bookstore downtown now, and we went in there. My mom said she thought she knew what she was getting. And I think his name is Augustine Burroughs or something. But my mom said she bought the book and started reading it and said it was just such perverted sex stuff. She didn't know what to do with it. She didn't want anybody to know she bought it. So she poured stuff on it and put it in the trash.
Poured stuff on it. I like that move.
Trash can.
It's not enough just to put it in the trash can. You got to pour some stuff on it
So-
too. 'Cause someone might be inclined to open it.
So today she texted me. I said, well, if you need anything besides those nasty books you read, I'll be happy to pick it up for you. Well, because I was telling her about that lady. Because you know, like when you loan a book to somebody, you know, like I always think like, does it have like, is it a lot too much sex in it or something? Like you don't want to give it to somebody. They're like, oh, this was a good book, you know. It's like half the pages were sex stuff, you know. And I was like, so I was going to give that lady some books. And I started thinking about that. My mom was like, oh, don't give her the one I just threw in the trash. I said, you threw it in the trash? She said, yeah, and I covered it up with stuff so the trash man wouldn't see it.
Oh.
I said, Mom, you're just like every other woman. You like to go out and have fun. Come on.
Oh,
You like to sit at home and read your dirty books.
So, what bird you bring with you
oh
today?
goodness gracious! I brought the same bird that I brought last week,
How do you got yours?
but I didn't make it last week, and neither did he. But I saw one just before I came over here, so it was a good sign.
Oh, I know that bird.
Yep, everybody knows the blue jay, and he gets a good picture
A little
there.
bit of a bad reputation.
Well, it's well deserved.
It's well deserved.
Yep.
What? I thought blue jays were really beautiful. I've never heard any bad talk about them.
Well, you're getting ready to.
I see those around my house a lot. They're one of
Oh
my
yeah,
favorites.
they're a very common bird around here and throughout the East Coast. On the west side of the continent, we have what they call a Steller's jay, which is this darker one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a cool name.
It looks the same shape and same identifying what they call top knot, and just like they look just like a blue jay, except they don't have the white. They have black instead.
Right, it's so neat.
Yeah,
Just that little bit of difference.
Yeah,
Like, oh, your blue jays are different out here.
Yeah, they really are. So they're called Steller's jay, after a guy named Steller. That's my theory.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that's the way they do it. Blue jays are, first thing you know about blue jays is they're smart asses. And I say that biologically because they're corvids. Now, if you know,
what's the definition of a corvid?
corvids is a family of birds that includes ravens, crows, and blue jays,
What?
and magpies.
So the smartest birds.
So they're known, all of those birds are known for their intelligence.
And what was the crow? What is it?
Crows and ravens,
And blue jay?
and blue
Wow.
jays, and I said one other one,
Magpie.
magpies
Magpie.
out
Oh, wow.
west. We don't have the magpies, but they're corvids too. So they all have voice abilities to control their voice in different ways. You can get a crow that can mimic your voice, just like a parrot. That's a gift that corvids have, but it's connected to their brains are just very well developed in certain ways.
Problem solvers. They can solve puzzles and stuff.
Right.
There's some remarkable studies on.
Yeah. And, the interesting thing you think about is, except for the raven, all three of these birds are very social near man. And the reason is very simple. They're smart enough to avoid man, but opportunistic enough to survive off of what we throw out as trash.
Right.
So they love living near a food source, and that's what we are. That's what we are in these cities. Plus, they have their trees with their acorns. They love acorns, and now the other thing is we talk about their behavior. They have a bad reputation. They will raid a nest in the spring. So when they're flying around, they're on the hunt. They're not just flying around. They're looking for nests, and they'll rob a nest, and eat the eggs or the babies, and so they earn that obnoxiousness.
Wow.
Plus, when you get to the feeder, their behavior is very dominating over
Kick all the other birds out.
all the smaller birds, and they're just arrogant, is what you would say.
So why would just back to the corvid for a second? Because when I see a blue jay, it looks like a version of a cardinal. Like they look like the exact same bird with different clothes or whatever. But a cardinal's not a corvid.
No, and they're not the same type of bird. If you look closely, like a cardinal's beak is much thicker. It's the beak of a finch, where the blue jay's is sharper and more of a pinpointed, so it's more of a spear. So the blue jay can't eat the sunflower seeds. He loves them, but he does what the other birds do. He either grabs it in his feet and pecks it open and then eats it, or he takes it to a branch and holds it down and puts it in the wood and pecks it open. But he can't just chew it. Now the cardinal has that thick beak, that pinch beak, and he can crush the sunflower seed and then just sit there and eat the food out of it. So
That's weird. When he said it, I was thinking it's sort of the same thing, almost like this. I was thinking the same shape, and just like you said, different clothes on.
Right. Is the beak one of the primary things that puts it in the corvid family, or is?
Well, the beak could be one aspect of it, because none of them have that finch's beak. They all have more of that shape of a beak. Yeah.
Are
So
there any other corvids with color like that? Because ravens, crows, those are all.
Well, the magpie has like three. They've got the white and the green and the brown. They're a beautiful bird.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's any relationship there. They're just whatever that they adopted to.
Now, do any birds around here have like that like parrot beak, whatever that, or that sort of curved? Or that's just like a parrot thing. And why does a parrot have that, for cracking open big stuff? Or?
Yeah, there's more of a fruit thing that when they had to crack the pod to get to the inner.
So you wouldn't really need that around here. The birds around here wouldn't really need
It's just
that.
it's just the eco.
Right.
It's not a tropical environment. You see
Right.
more of that.
Yeah.
The seeds, they have to crush the seeds, and so you have that finch. That's a thick beak, but it's not good for what you were talking about.
Bean says she has a mountain/stellar jay in her yard who imitates hawk sounds at the cats.
Exactly.
At the cats?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if a cat hears a hawk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. They talk about the intelligence of these birds. They can recognize human beings, which is remarkable. In other words, they could, if you throw or something or took their baby or something, you were walking, the next day when you came by, they would pick you out of a crowd and know it
freak
was-
out.
Wow.
That's a lot of thinking going on to be able to recall that
Right.
and then act on it.
Wow.
Shows a lot of understanding of your reality, which is what a lot of what they do is shows a lot of intelligence on that type of intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
But so what else do we need to know about blue jays? Are there anything?
Now, what kind of nests do they make?
They make just a fairly sloppy, not too bad, but they usually put it up in the top of a pine tree or an oak in a crotch somewhere where it's fairly high up. You don't usually see them near the ground.
Was the female blue jay blue too?
They're pretty much similar. You can't tell them apart. It's another interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's interesting what they don't do. It's like, so many of the birds show that a big difference. But
Right.
I don't know. But
So can different birds mate?
not, and that's what defines a lot of people. That's what defines a species, being able to. So if you say you're in a subspecies, like there's a black bear and a brown bear, but they came out of the same genetic pool, then they could mate and they'd have a new person. So if you can't or don't or never, so what you get is isolation. If you never mix the populations, they're going to evolve separately and get further apart. If they get far enough apart, they might not be able to genetically or otherwise procreate. So that can happen over time, and isolation. So that's how that works. Blue jays, on the other hand, are very common, and there's not any worry about losing them. They're very adaptable to lots of situations. So,
Now, are certain types of birds going extinct? You think they're
oh
getting
yes, every day some species of something is going extinct. And with the climate change, it's eating up more and more possibilities. Yeah, it's kind of scary what's going to happen, but it's happened before. When you had the great extinction of all the dinosaurs, that was a mass extinction. So
I was just reading about the dodo birds. Is that what it's called? Like how they went, they were like on these, there was like a whole bunch of them on this deserted island or something. And like, you know,
yeah,
something happened. They were all gone there. Now they're just, there's none left.
well, they were eaten by the British sailors
Yeah,
when they
yeah.
landed. They were all killed off.
Gone the way of the dodo. That's like a saying.
Then what did the dodo bird look like? Like a big duck, sort of?
They look like a naked duck. They're ugly they were ugly.
Did they fly?
No, they couldn't fly. They didn't
Oh my
have,
goodness.
They didn't have feathers.
Wow, that is a naked duck.
Look at that thing.
They were a featherless bird. Yeah,
What a trip. What a beak.
yeah.
So what do you think when they find, like these fishermen find these fish that they think have been extinct for like 60 years and stuff, and they catch one? Like I read that in the news every once in a while. This fish hasn't been seen for, you know.
Thought to be extinct.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, the famous one was a coelacanth.
Was that a
They-
fish?
Yeah, that was a reptile-like fish, and they thought it had been extinct for 50 million years, and they
Oh my God.
and they found them living off the deepest part of the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh wow, when did they find them?
This happened when I was a young guy, so it'd be in
Wow.
the 60s probably, because that was a big deal. That's where all that started happening.
mm-hmm.
But
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, when you get down there underneath that ocean far enough, you don't know what you're gonna find.
That's what I was just thinking about. There's still depths we've never been to.
Yeah,
It could be
some of the
creatures
life
down there.
forms, some of the life forms down there are amazing.
Mm-hmm. No eyes.
Oh. Well, you said things. I know you're looking at the news. Like those, they think those orca whales now are learning how to attack. Like they're going after boats like they've never had before. And they were the article I read. So they're sort of like you were saying. They're just getting smarter and they're learning the patterns and stuff. And now they know how to knock over a boat. Like 2 or 3 will go. And
What's in there that they'd want though?
they eat the
Fish.
people.
Oh,
It
fish.
was a fishing boat. They'd want to fish. If it was a party boat, they'd want the party. Sometimes you just open a can and see what you get.
That's whoop ass.
There's 12 of us, and you people aren't even armed.
I see on YouTube all the time these people will be surfing like a sea lion will come up to them and stuff. I'd be scared to death if some animal like that came up to me. I don't think I would sit there and pet it.
Oh, a what?
Like if I was out in the ocean surfing and some sea creature came up to me, I don't think I would just lean over and give it a big hug. I'd be like, get away from me.
Oh, yeah.
But a dolphin?
But all these people you see like they're, you know, this thing just came up to me, this sea lion came up to me and, you know, it was so sweet. And I think it bites your fingers
Sea
off.
lion bite his hand off.
Well, it was another fun show. Thank you both very
Well,
much.
it was
All right,
fun.
so
Any idea for a leaving song?
you have to do the chicken song so we can all dance the chicken dance.
Yeah, we should do some kind of chicken dance, huh?
It is a German type sounding song now that you say that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
The song that goes with it?
Yeah, it's like it's got that that beer polka type, you know. What do you call that type of music? Yeah.
Polka.
Now, you know who's a good dancer. Right there.
That's true.
She can I still remember that dance. This was a real story, and I've never told it before, I don't think.
Man, it's gonna be on air for everybody to hear.
It was the first time I realized that she loved you.
Oh.
She came over to the house, and you had just left on one of your trips out west. And she left, you left, and I looked over and I didn't know what was going on, and all of a sudden I realized she was crying. And I went over and hugged her and realized that, wow, this is a lot more serious than that.
Wow, she's quite a dancer.
But that afternoon, we went down to Stanton Jams, and I was there and she was there, and finally we got together and I danced with her, and all of a sudden she had really moves. Of course, I don't, but she took care of me and got me through. But I remember that dance. I said, "Oh my goodness!" So I learned a whole lot.
The best I've ever danced was with you. She made me a dancer.
I'll bet. I can see that.
Just trying to rise up.
Yeah, just staying.
Stepping up.
Just staying with it.
Yeah.
Literally stepping up. Upping your game. It's like putting on a nice shirt instead of wearing that same one for the fourth day in a row.
Right.
Instead of wearing the street sweater.
His shining shoes, paying dues, are these the blues I'm feeling? Down the street, they're tapping their feet and the old time music's reeling. You know, I always thought I could play if I had the chance, but I never did, and all I can do is dance.
Perfect.
Middle of the night, I think I might go down to the old train station, hop along the rail line, where the hobos, I don't remember it. In the middle of the night, I think I might go down to the old train station, walk along the rail line where the hobos hopped on the nation. You know, I always thought I could be one if I had the chance, but I never did, and all I can do is dance. Bust a move. Lost his mind just trying to be a poet. Could someone wish they were and try to be, think they weren't and be one and not know it? Because I always thought I could be one if I had the chance, but I never did, and all I can do is dance. No, I never did, all I can do is dance.
Woohoo! Yeah, all right.
Thank you so much for watching. See you next week.
3 more verses and you'd had me up.